Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check them out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Christine,
This is Jessie.
and we are the hosts of the podcast Dark Mysteries.
Please come join us every Monday for
Some crazy true crime.
some spooky paranormal.
And of course, it wouldn't be complete without some weird and creepy.
You can find us on Spotify,
Of course, on Patreon.
as well as Amazon and many others.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, welcome back to Twisted Tales, folks. Hope you're all doing well here. Now, this next episode is going to be a volume 1 of 15 regarding all the missing people that have gone missing in Cape Breton Island. So I guess it'll be like a whole little series, I suppose. Now, I'm going to take the time to do each and every one of these over time in between episodes because honestly, you never know. Like, this could help get the word out to people, and I hope that this episode helps in some sort of way. So during the last few days, I've been chatting with Cody's mother, Tammy Macdonald Rouse, and we've been chatting about her son, all his hobbies, the searches that they've went on, what they've went through, and who's been cooperative and who's been uncooperative. And we're just running some stuff by each other here just to make sure that it's all flowing right and that it's accurate. This episode today, we'll be talking about a man named Cody Duane Macdonald. Our friend Cody was last seen in Grand Anse, Nova Scotia. This is a small community located in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. It's located within Richmond County, and it's on the north side of Lennox Passage. So, just a little about Grand Anse here. Now, this is a small community. It was settled in the early 19th century. They opened up a school in, 1832. A post office was built in 1862. And it just had like a wicked small population. Now, this is close to Black River Road and Highway 4. There's a few lakes up that way. There's Shoal Lake, McPherson Lake, and Lewsdale is actually not too far off. This actually runs down Highway 104. Now, there's a local gas station located down this way. This is called Caper Gas. It's a little convenience store and gas bar located on Highway 320. And it's connected to a restaurant called the Seal Cove. So Caper Gas operates in a lot of communities back home. They're actually owned and operated by Cape Bretoners for Cape Bretoners. Originally, Caper Gas is a trademark of Boudreaux Fuels Limited. So it's a small local independent fuel oil distributor owned and operated in Cape Breton. So this case here needs a little bit of a boost because it hasn't gotten the media attention that it deserves, and I'm just hoping to try and help with that. And, talk to you guys about some stuff, hoping you guys will share some posts here on Facebook, maybe share this episode around or what have you, just to try to reach a wider audience. Now, his mother, Tammy, actually has a Facebook group called Let's Bring Cody Macdonald Home. So check that out if you guys have any information or what have you. Hopefully some new information will come available from this. The group grows every day. Just hoping, some new information will come available here. They'll hear something that they haven't heard. And we're just hoping that people will spread the word about their son, Cody, who was last seen February 29th, 2024. And any info to get him home would most definitely be a blessing to the family. Just a little about Cody here. Now, he's a pretty tall lad, 5 foot 10 inches, weighs around 145 pounds, has brown colored hair, blue eyes. He's known to wear prescription sunglasses at all times, and he was 29 years old at the time of his disappearance around the Grand Anse area. Now, Cody grew up near Big Marsh Road. This is kind of near Blue Mills. It's a little village in Cape Breton Island, down along Trans-Canada Highway 105, right in between Upper River Denny's and Iron Mines. His mother is Tammy Macdonald Rouse. His father is a man named Scott Matthews. Cody also has a stepfather, Leslie Rouse, and he raised Cody from a young age, roughly about 2 years old. So Tammy and Leslie have been married for quite some time now here. And honestly, they've had nothing but Cody's best interests at heart. Cody went to school in WEC, so that's Waikagama Education Center. This is located in Waikagama, Nova Scotia. This is down on 50 Norman MacLeod Road. The school has students from pre-primary right up to grade 8. Just has a wicked enrollment here. They can enroll about 150 students. And it's just a great little school here located on the beautiful Brador Lakes. Now, later on growing up, he went to school in Dalbrae Academy. And this is up in southwest Mabu, Highway 19, and it offers up grades 9 through 12. And this is a very wide student population. There's all kinds of areas in between here that go there. Port Hood, Sky Glen, Orangedale. Just name a few places around the area that went to that school. And Cody went here up until grade 11. And then he switched on over to Richmond Academy for his grade 12 year. And this is up in Louisdale, Nova Scotia. Cody did his schooling, and he ended up really into fixing cars, trucks, anything with an engine. The guy could fix anything, right? Any truck, any car, any all-terrain vehicle, snowmobiles. And he was taught how to work on cars from his stepfather, Leslie, and his granddad, Allie. So they would spend hours together working on stuff, having conversations out there, stuff like that, right? Just genuinely great bonding time for all three of them. They'd either work like right outside the driveway. For bigger projects, they worked together in a garage located not far from the house. And other hobbies would include fishing, hunting. So fishing was another hobby of Cody's here. He would either go by himself sometimes, or him and his granddad, Allie, would go out with him. And the two men just spent a lot of time together. Leslie, he's been in Cody's life since he's been about 2 years old. Tammy met Leslie through some mutual friends. They began dating sometime after her relationship with Scott didn't work out. Now, Cody didn't have the greatest relationship with his biological father, Scott. Old Leslie stepped in, and he helped raise them together. It's pretty cool to see people step up like that. Like, Leslie taught him all his mechanical skills that he knew, and Cody was a quick learner. He didn't have to go to any course or any trade like we usually have to, right? All the hard work was passed down by two knowledgeable men, and the rest is history, folks. Now, his love for the outdoors had also grown over time. He loved to hunt. There's a lot of deer up that way on the island, white-tailed deer to be exact. Now, the hunting season for them spans from late September to early December. Sometimes you get like a good mild winter back there, and that kind of weather would usually bring the deer out of the woodworks. So you could end up leaving with a few tags if you're patient enough, right? It's a little known fact here. Although not native to Nova Scotia, white-tailed deer started to arrive in the province about a little over 100 years ago. So there's a little fact for you. So besides all the hobbies, the fixing cars, Cody just loved to hang out and spend time with his family and friends. Now, he loved family gatherings, no matter what time of year, Christmas time, Easter, whatever. And what he loved more than all of that was all the food that went along with it. He enjoyed his nanny's meat pies, other home-baked goods, other such sweets, so anything that was on the go there, he tried. So, Cody also had two sisters. Their names are Shelby and Zoe. And they were also a big part of his life here. Everybody just cared and looked out for one another. There was a few places that he loved to visit in his downtime here. The Cottage Bakery and Tea Room. This is up in Louisdale. This is a family-owned business since back in 1997 there, and they sell like baked breads, pot pies, pizza fingers, donair fingers, other such Cape Breton delicacies like that, right? They make homemade green tomato chow. And these are just some of the things that he did for fun besides buying and selling vehicles after fixing them up. He also would pick up a few skidoos here. He'd tinker with them, he'd fix them, like pretty much fix them up like brand new, and then he'd sell them. Or he'd trade them for like his next project or whatever, right? He'd either sell it or keep it for himself. And when he wasn't fixing things, he was usually passing the time with his friends. Darlene Sutherland was his girlfriend. She remembers meeting up with Cody one night here in her driveway. So funny story, she says, in how she met Cody. Now, her bestie, her hubby, and her sister had come up for the night, and they all decided to head out to the carriage house for a couple of drinks. Afterwards, when Darlene and them rolled back to her place after getting a cab, she noticed a truck in her driveway, and there's Cody, a mutual friend of theirs, and another girl just chilling in the driveway. So it ended up being an awesome night here of some drinks, some laughs, and some good old fun. Now, the bar that they went to before was the Carriage House. This is a bar located in Port Hawkesbury. This is down on Reeves Street. Nice spot. You can catch a few bands or a comedy show here. Slow Coaster actually played there, and, a bunch of other wicked bands here. Slow Coaster's wicked, totally underrated, so if you get the chance to ever come see them down in Cape Breton, do it. Now, this gas station here that I previously mentioned here, this is Seal Cove Gas and Bar Convenience. So it's open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So Cody would also visit here. He'd go into the restaurant and everything. Nice spot. Like, they have slushies all year round, snacks, newspapers. The whole thing's like actually owned by Robin Cotton, mostly these days anyway. I actually had a little chat with the person that works in that place. So she's seen Cody shop there numerous times. She didn't have much of a interaction with him or anything. Mainly they were just brief encounters, nothing too major. Still pretty cool that we had that chat. Originally when Seal Cove was mentioned to me, I thought it was like a scenic place because there's actually one called Seal Cove back there. But Cody always visited the gas station and the restaurant here that's actually called Seal Cove Convenience. So didn't mean to mix that up here, and I got that straightened away. So just a little mix up. We moved on. Just a very cool little thing here that a girl working at that very store would message me about it. Now, Cody's mechanic skills had him working at different shops all over Cape Breton here. He lived in Truro at one point here. Now, he worked at a shop up that way. So Truro is a town in Nova Scotia as well. Has a population of a little over 12,000. And it's a little known fact here, Truro is actually known as the hub of Nova Scotia. Has a very historical downtown, founded back in 1759 actually. And it's home to the Micmac people here for, several centuries now. Now, Acadian settlers actually came to this area way back in the day in the 1700s. It was a small farming community at one point here, but due to construction of the Nova Scotia Railway between Halifax and Pictou, this is back in 1858, this caused the place to experience a wicked fast rate of growth. Now, this increased even more when the railway connected to central Canada in 1872, then became the Intercolonial Railway, and then the Canadian National Railway. So, with more and more upgrades and everything else, the place just boomed. So, now it has over 12,000 people. Now, there's actually a few prominent black Canadians back there that actually have roots in Truro. Burley Allen Rock Jones, he's a famous lawyer. He's an organizer here, a human rights activist. And there's also Arthur Art Dorrington. Now, this guy's the first black hockey player to sign an NHL contract, and he was raised here, and he joined the New York Rangers there back in the 50s. So there's my little history lesson there, folks. Just a great little place here, and it's no question as to why he'd go live in this awesome little place. Really good scenery, lots of friendly folk. But that's everywhere you go, right? There's not always going to be friendly folk. There's going to be suspicious people. There's going to be sketchy people. Now, Cody lived here for roughly 2 years. He also spent some time in Port Hawkesbury, so he spent about 3 years up there. He was working and hanging out with friends, and he lived with his girlfriend, Darlene. Now, before his disappearance, just a couple weeks before actually, Cody moved up to Grand Anse area. Cody had a camper trailer that he hauled up there. He was fixing it up, doing some renovations to it as he was living in it. So he was staying on that property. Now, even though Scott owned the property here that the camper was on, he actually sold that to Cody for like $5,000. So Cody took the camper out to 6250 Highway 4, which is just 5 kilometers from his father's house. This is a long highway that goes past the Louisdale and District Fire Hall, past McIntyre Lake, and will eventually lead you to Port Hawkesbury there. So you just keep going straight, it'll take you right to Port Hawkesbury. Now, somewhere in between all here is where Cody had the camper set up. Cody was going to build on an addition to the camper, so he was like going to build a wood stove in there for some heat during the winter and stuff, and he was going to build a deck possibly. He had a bunch of lumber up there, actually. Me and Darlene actually talked about this here. So Darlene and Cody dated there. Cody lived with her for about 2 years up there. Now they split up a couple times, got back together, what have you. But they were actually split up at the time here when he was getting the camper all set up. But he took her up there to show her the land that he now owned, his ideas that he had for the camper, and what he wanted to do with it. So it was something that he was just very excited about, she remembers. Now, it gave him like somewhere to relax. It was out in the country. It would be super quiet out that way. And he'd just be able to just chill at this spot. This was around the end of January that he showed Darlene all this here. Now, Darlene had noticed that Cody was actually using some pills. This was Dexedrine. And these are used to help with ADD or ADHD. So ADD is attention deficit disorder, and the other is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They're actually the same exact thing here. ADD is just an old term for what is now labeled ADHD. So just a little bit on ADHD and everything here, what it's now labeled as. It's a brain-based disorder that can actually interfere with everyday activities. Examples of this can be trouble paying attention, controlling one's behavior. They can sometimes be hyperactive. There's impulsivity, meaning spur-of-the-moment decisions without thinking about the harm or the consequences, long-term effects, what have you. There's inattention, disorganization problems, staying on task, constant daydreaming, and not paying attention when spoken to directly. Also, hyperactivity, this includes like squirming, fidgeting, tapping, talking, and constant movement, especially in situations where it's not appropriate. Now, you can easily get sidetracked, disorganized, you can seem forgetful, and you don't appear to listen when you're directly spoken to. Like you can span off, walk away from conversations. You can lose things often too. You can struggle to follow through with instructions, and you can make careless mistakes. You can have trouble waiting your turn to talk, feel like you're always on the go. And these are all factual because, honestly, this is how I feel at any given time. I can't focus as well. It's something that I have to kind of teach myself to try to do. Sometimes it does get the better of me. I've walked away mid-conversation without realizing it, right? Especially with these podcasts, like, I know what interests me, so I'm able to keep focus, but it doesn't last. But that's life, right? Over time, this can also give you signs of depression, anxiety, sleeping problems. I have all these. So yeah, it's great. So that's just a little bit on ADD and like Dexedrine here that he was taking. So that's a medication used to treat this. It's a psychostimulant medication that's prescribed to help with this. Now, Cody's family noticed a couple changes here. They thought he might have ADHD, but they took him to doctors, but alas, they weren't the best and they dismissed it without testing him. Now, back then, ADHD awareness wasn't as prim and proper as it is today, I guess, or more aware as today, I guess. Honestly, when I was prescribed my meds for ADD at the time, it made you feel like an outcast. Students actually looked at you differently. They talked shit about you. They made fun of you. You got bullied. Maybe it was just my life, but all those issues that I had, it was literally like the main reason why I stopped taking my medication, because I was made to feel different. But whatever. Back to the case here. Cody's trailer was on some land. This was 5 kilometers from his father's place. Cody had high hopes of getting this place in order, but he was having trouble focusing. And by now, he had like 10 projects on the go at any given time, and he couldn't focus on any of them. But that's why he was taking the Dexedrine, so he was able to focus, but he was taking too many of those, and this increases the release of dopamine in the brain. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. So when you're prescribed meds, you have a certain dosage that you're given, and this will help you with your dopamine levels and everything. But if you start abusing those, taking too many, it'll mess you up. You'll get too much. So if you take too much Dexedrine, at first it'll make you feel like pleasant, but soon it'll become overwhelming when there's too much dopamine being released. This will cause anxiety, paranoia, and delusions, which are often present with high Dexedrine toxicity. Now, the abuse of Dexies made Cody be up all night. He wasn't eating, and maybe he thought he could control it. Who knows? But addiction sucks, and it's a very hard thing to go through, especially when you think you have a handle on it and you don't. So, when he worked on vehicles, it was all hours of the night. Sometimes he'd stop by his mom's place at 3 or 4 in the morning, and this was when they had to work the next day. To which his mom and stepdad were nice about it, like they had to work in the morning and stuff, so they would ask him to come back the next day and work on it then. They didn't know at the time about his drug use, but they had suspected that something wasn't right. They would always ask him all the time, like if he was using or if he was okay, and Cody just replied that he was just busy and he was just always on the go. So, Grand Aunts definitely seemed like a good spot as any to get some downtime, maybe give him some time to reflect on things, get the land going. But unfortunately, Cody never got the chance to do that. February 29th, that morning, Cody and his biological father, Scott, and one Cody Timmons were headed up to Port Hawkesbury, and this is where Cody Timmons had lived. So they were heading up that way to drop Timmons off, and when they dropped him off, Scott took Cody a couple of places. So there was this Dodge dealership that they went to. They went up there to get a key made. So they came back to Scott's place, and this was down on Campbell Road. Then he took Cody down to the gas bar, which is at the Seal Cove restaurant and everything. So Cody is seen on the video camera surveillance, and this is at 10:26 a.m. that morning. Scott takes Cody back up to his place up on Campbell Road, and then around 11 a.m., Scott says that he left with a buddy of his to go to Tim Hortons. And for those that don't know, Tim Hortons is like a local coffee shop here in Canada. They're all over the place, so this is where everybody goes to get their coffee fix. And then a neighbor by the name of Tia had last seen Cody outside of Scott's little cabin outside. He was smoking a cigarette, and he was on his cell phone. And this right here, folks, is the last known sighting of Cody Duane Macdonald, minus the video footage from earlier when he went to go buy smokes. So a few days went by, and people started to get worried. His mom, Leslie, his ex-girlfriend Darlene. So everybody started calling up some friends, few others, asking around for Cody's whereabouts, and nothing was coming from it. Everything was coming up short. It was decided that they would file a missing persons report on March 4th, and by March 5th, the family started searching the area. So there were some family and friends that joined in on the search here. Darlene helped daily with searches. She was present a lot of the time. She would also bring her dogs with her too to help join in on the searches. Now, Tammy did talk to Scott throughout this, and it wasn't too much help, to which he's now completely uncooperative with Tammy here. So the family searched high and low looking for Cody, and Scott, he didn't participate in any search for his son. He never went on any searches with the family. He couldn't even let bygones be bygones with Tammy, right? But, like, even though Scott knew the area and everything, like, he knew that area well. He actually owned a four-wheeler, too. So this could have been a lot of use to assist them in the search to find their son, right? I mean, anybody would think that when a father's son goes missing, he's going to do everything he can to go out and look. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case here. Not long after, all these tips and everything from people started to pour in. Tammy mentioned that police were very cooperative. She ended up mentioning that 5 officers did a whole team up to help handle this case. So this would help assist with the new leads and other tips coming in from people around the area. And all of these would have to be checked out, mind you. Like, you'd have to go through a lot here to decipher which one were rumors and what wasn't, right? And police have kept in touch with Tammy here throughout the investigation. You know, they give them updates and whatever else they might come across. And at the moment, the family can't get much details because it's a currently ongoing investigation. But, you know, they're still checking on things and everything, so this whole thing is actually still a currently ongoing missing persons case. And there are a lot of people involved here that have lied throughout the case of all this, or they've changed their stories, which makes it very hard to get the correct answers. So, yeah, I mean, you gotta exclude people, you gotta figure out what's bullshit, what's not. So, it was because of all these rumors that the lie detector tests were put in place, so they were asked to be taken from people. But Scott has allowed RCMP to do searches on his property, like there were police dogs, search and rescue. But at this time here, there was a bunch of snow when they did the searches, right? Like the area of Richmond was just caked with snow. There's a lot of terrain to go through in the woods, and, you know, snow and everything can make it quite difficult to search. And there were hopes of doing another search in the spring. Maybe they could find something that had been previously stuck in the snow or something, right? I mean, sometimes you find things when the snow melts. I have an example of that. The Big Ben's murders. They actually found the knife that was used to stab the clerk on shift after the snow melted there. She got stabbed on a stormy winter night. Buddy tossed the knife, went into the snowbank, and they found that when the snow melted. But unfortunately here, the search never happened again. Like, Scott hasn't responded to any of Tammy's messages. He eventually blocked her on Facebook. But even with him not helping or being cooperative anymore, I guess, and I know the family definitely aren't going to give up the search for Cody. Everyone's going to continue on to help spread the word about Cody and continue to look for him, much to Scott's dismissal on the whole ordeal. And with that, folks, I guess we can wind down here a little bit here. I just want to thank Cody's family and Darlene for helping me put this all together, because we've been at this for, the past week, back and forth. And I do thank each and every one of you for your time, even with the 3-hour time difference and all. Now, I hope this episode helps you out in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I know it's my show, but this is your guys' episode, so I thank you for letting me cover this. And I also want to thank those that listened to this episode, those that have messaged me personally, taken the time out of your busy schedule to help me put this together from start to finish. Now, if you guys can, just share this around, and if you see any posts, you can also share those around too. I usually post a little bit on my page there. And to the family, like, you guys have my blessings in the whole world here. Like, I hope you guys get some answers sooner than later. So with that, folks, I actually have an interview with Darlene I'm going to post up next, and then me and Tammy also spoke, and we recapped a couple things there. So this will be 3 episodes on this portion here. So thank you very much for tuning back into Twisted Tales. You guys have a wonderful night.
Twisted Tales.